Hello my soccer universe. Yesterday's fixtures, be it the Conference League or the Europa League, were not kind for me in terms of the jersey that I will be wearing. It's another tight one in AZ. However, AZ definitely had the best performance of all the teams yesterday in the Europa League. Beating Galatasaray at home 4-1 was a pretty big statement, and all the Dutch teams actually had a really good evening. Ajax won away at Royal Union Saint-Gilloise, and in the last second, Twente also got a win, and all Dutch teams look very well set of moving on. The big matchup between Porto and Roma maybe was a little bit of a mad game, but there were quite some interesting results in there as well. Enough of me rambling, let's move right into the matches. It was a little bit of an upside-down world in Istanbul. Fenerbahce may have just squeaked into the playoff, whereas Anderlecht just missed out on the top 8. However, it's Fenerbahce who beat Anderlecht 3-0 at home. Overall, it was even a deserved win. Tadic already in the 11th minute opened the scoring with a headed goal, a rare-headed goal for Tadic, I would argue. And just before the half, Dzeko makes it 2 after a shot of his was parried and then he puts it in. However, in the build-up there was potentially a foul as well, so this was rather controversial. Anderlecht were really not defending well, and especially how Szymanski was left alone to freely make a cross in that, and Enesiri converts with another header in the 57th minute was indicative of the game. Yes, Anderlecht did have a chance maybe to cut the lead a little bit, however it could also have gone the other way. Really big win for Fenerbahce. In a very much underrated duel, Ferencváros beat Viktoria Pilsen at home 1-0 thanks to an Abu Fani goal in the first half, taking advantage of a few frailties in the Pilsen defense. Pilsen is actually a team that's rather solid on the back, and it didn't concede more, although the chances for Ferencváros were there, but that the result means that the return leg is all to play for. Real Sociedad get a 2-1 away win at Midtjylland. Bryce Mendes with a penalty after a foul that was on the edge of the box, and Takekubo with a brilliant shot in the 31st minute had given La Sociedad already a 2-0 lead. Buxa then cuts it in half before the halftime. Second half, there was the chance to equalize for Midtjylland. However, when Oyarzabal came on, he had two pretty good chances to also extend the lead for La Sociedad. At one action, a shot was just blocked, and the other one he hit actually the post. In many ways, Ajax were second best in the first half at Royal Union Saint-Gilloise. Horrible pitch, I gotta say, but they were also unlucky because they thought they had the ball over the line, and they see in the replay that it was just by a few millimeters not fully over the line. On the other side, Union Saint-Gilloise also had 2 goals disallowed for an offside. Both cases, it was the correct call, however, especially for the second goal, it was a really weird one because that happened earlier in the build-up and it was really a fractional one. However, in the second half, Ajax then get the better of Royal Union. On a counter-attack, Edwardson plays the ball over to Rasmussen, who then opens the scoring in the 59th minute, and then Mokio in the 71st becomes the youngest ever Ajax player to score a goal in Europe. That's also a remarkable stat if you would think about it. In the end, Ajax seed out relatively easy. Klaassen saved on the line, but Ajax was fully in control and are now the big favorites to move on to the round of 16. The big Europa League upset on Thursday evening came, of course, in Alkmaar, where AZ beat Galatasaray 4-1, and Galatasaray were actually happy to get out with that scoreline. They opened the scoring early through a beautiful Mainans free kick into the top corner. Muslera had no chance of getting there, and honestly, Poku should have made it 2-0. He had a one-on-one with the goalie, and just a late block once he was past the goalie prevented him from scoring. However, from that action then, actually Galatasaray get back into the game with Solai firing it home in the 20th minute. Just before the half, Galatasaray give away a stupid penalty, and Parrott converts for a fully deserved 2-1 halftime lead for AZ. And things get even worse because Kaan Ayhan then makes a really stupid foul again. 51st minute, Galatasaray go down to 10 men thanks to a yellow-red card. And they quickly capitalize on that opportunity with a really nicely played attacking move that comes through Coco, plays into Clasier, who then slots it home 3-1. And just 10 minutes later, a Mainans shot is blocked and Wolf is just standing there, taps it home 4-1. The game then slowed down, but again, there were the chances there for AZ to extend the lead. There was really not much happening from Galatasaray. Yes, no Victor Osimhen, really was no help, but still, this was a rather flat performance, and one of the pre-season favorites is more or less on the way out already in the playoff round. The big name matchup between Porto and Roma really didn't live up to the billing. It was not a great match, but it was a match that was largely controlled by Roma, despite Porto having early chances. But then Dybala twice missed. Roma took the lead just before the half when Baldanzi, who actually had come on for Dybala, who had to come off with an injury after a knock to his knee, plays it into Dovbyk. The ball is then tapped over to Jelic, who scores the go-ahead goal just before the halftime whistle. However, the game was also not good because the referee was not really living up to that match, and if you get Claudio Ranieri, one of the nicest men in the entire world, really boiling, that should tell you a whole lot. Porto probably should have equalized within 20 seconds of the kickoff of the first half. However, there also was probably an offside in the build-up. In any case, the chance by Mora goes begging. But then Roma again, controlling game without creating too many chances. However, there's a big chance by Mancini after a corner kick that really forced a save. However, from the ensuing corner kick then, there's a kick out where Ranieri is not allowed to make a substitution. The ball goes out far to Pepe, who then sees Moura because he sees he cannot get past the two defenders. He takes a shot, it's deflected, it's 1-1 for Porto, and just a few minutes later Brian Cristante gets his second yellow card for a cynical foul, and suddenly Porto have the upper hand. Up until that point, I would argue that Roma more or less had control of the game, and then they lost it, and Porto probably were unlucky to not win it. In the end, it's a 1-1 draw that probably was reflective of the game. All to play for at the Olimpico. Slight refereeing controversy also in FCSB, so this is FCB in Romanian. Win at PAOK, their second win already in Thessaloniki, where PAOK have actually won all the other 3 games. And PAOK were much the better team. Took a lead through Samatta already in the 21st minute. Samatta then had a goal also disallowed, I think, for offside. And early on there was another goal disallowed for PAOK where the ball was already over the line. So PAOK very much in control of that game. However, stoppage time Tyson is sent off with his second yellow card. The first one was probably an iffy one. The second one, though, he was just complaining. But if you're already on a yellow card, you should not do that. And that turned the game, because now not only FCSB had the upper hand, they also came out a little bit more because they knew now there will be spaces for them. They get the equalizer through Jorgita after Nanase assist, and his shot had been blocked. But I also wonder, why is the PAOK goal just after he blocked the shot remains outside of the goal? It was really giving it away, and then 10 minutes later Dava heads it in with a towering header to make it 2-1 for FCSB. Yes, PAOK were the more active team than afterwards, but cannot find an equalizer, and probably also have to be lucky because the space is opened up for the Romanians to even score another one. Huge blow for PAOK. And also the third Dutch team got a win on the evening, with Lutaev opening the scoring after a really great pass by Vlap, who I think it was more meant as a clearance, but he plays it really nicely into Lutaev, who could not then be defended well. Makes it 1-0 already in the 5th minute. Twente controlling the game, having only here and there chances. I think they hit once the crossbar, but they were not the huge chances, but they were fully in control of the game. So the equalizer through Berg in the 85th minute came more or less out of nowhere, and you thought that Bodø will get out of this one with a lucky draw. However, in stoppage time, the ball is handled in the box, and Van Wolfswinkel, one of my favorite names in all of football, converts the ensuing penalty to give Twente a win. Well, after this recap, it also makes sense to look at the chances of advancing, and you've seen all the graphics already, but I want to mention it a little bit more. 6 of the 8 games are more or less decided, and interestingly enough, the 2 tightest ones are also the ones that will result into the opponents of the 2 top seeds, meaning Lazio and Athletic Club. So we have Viktoria Pilsen against Ferencváros. Yes, Ferencváros should be considered the favorites, and Roma against Porto, where Roma after the draw also should be considered the favorites. Everything else more or less lopsided, which is a little bit of a downer, I have to say, but it also tells us which games we should focus on. If we look now in terms of the tournament bracket, well, as I said, on the top half, we don't really know yet who will face Lazio and Athletic Club. We could have a Roman derby in the round of 16. I really want to avoid that, to be honest. But Roma against Athletic Club is also not a kind draw, I gotta say. But, you know, I would love to see a Roman derby in the final. But, you know, we also could see a Basque derby in the final, potentially. The next section, as I said, we have probably Twente and Fenerbahce facing Rangers or Olympiacos. Olympiacos against Fenerbahce. That sounds kind of interesting. Then Ajax, also huge favorites, as is FCSB or FCSB, as I've learned yesterday evening, facing either Eintracht Frankfurt or OL. I think Ajax will have a tough opponent there as well, but they will also be a tough opponent to either one of these. And the two English teams face most likely AZ and Real Sociedad. I guess they would want to avoid Real Sociedad, although they should be favored in any case. If we look at the overall chances of winning it, it's still very, very, very tight. Spurs, Lazio, Athletic Club all on 13%. Spurs edging it ahead of the other two, and Manchester United is a little bit behind, but I would also count them in there. Frankfurt, Lyon, Roma, Real Sociedad, Ajax, I would say are the outsiders there. I actually, despite Fenerbahce being right up there with Ajax, I don't quite see it, but you know, they have the names at least to make a claim to go a little bit further. Looking at the fixtures for the return legs, of course, Roma-Porto will take center stage in the first slot, although Bodø could do something against Twente, and I don't want to count PAOK out just right yet. The second slot, yeah, Ajax, huge favorites. We also know Fenerbahce, there needs to be a major turnaround by Anderlecht. Pilsen against Ferencváros, I think, will be a tight one. Real Sociedad should actually cruise over Midtjylland. I think it's an overstatement to say that yesterday's evening was Dutch delight, and it really looks good that all three Dutch teams will advance. So huge boost for the Eredivisie, who actually might catch Liga Portugal with those performances. In any case, please let me know your thoughts on these matches in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like these, and I will talk to you soon about more things in my soccer universe. Bye! Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, here are some videos and playlists that you may enjoy too. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the little bell icon so you get notified whenever something happens in my soccer universe. And with that, have a wonderful day. Bye!